I mean, can you imagine somebody having $32 million? 32. $32 million. And this person has nothing, and you can sleep. You can still go to the movies and then these are the type of people that get humanitarian awards. Millionaires. How can they be humanitarians? By the fact that they millionaires and there's so many poor people shows how unhumane they are. You know what I'm saying? And that bugs me. Not saying that when I'm never going to be rich, and you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying it's a struggle, and I think everybody deserves. And I think there's a way to pay these people. I think there is a way. It just takes to be revolutionary, and it takes to do something out of the ordinary.
To do something out of the ordinary. Think about that for a second. What can we as individuals do to incite change, to support one another? Let me just say 2 words. Art communities.
I decided that what was happening in the late 80s was absolutely disgusting in the art world, and that women's positions had slid backwards, and they wanted to do something about it.
$80,000 already straight in at $480,000. At $480,000.
Do you ascribe any political revolutionary implications to rock?
No. I don't just mean painting, though that's one part of it. I mean all forms of art. Anything you could think of. Movies, TV shows, music, sculpting, even knitting. If it makes you create, that's art to me. This is Livewire, and my name is Alon. And in the last video, I kind of went on a rant about how we in society need to start implementing and supporting one another, yada, yada, yada. However, I didn't give really any reasons on why you should. So, here's this video on art and the community. Art communities are important and are the main institution for change and have sparked activism and uplifted individual artists. You got Voina, the Guerrilla Girls, and the Music Peer Support. They all have shown how art can be a powerful force for change. All excellent examples of communities that push for progress within their respective sectors. However, more and more, it seems the supportive efforts within art communities have started to fade, and we even got art getting kicked out of schools. Yes, we have platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, but the algorithm keeps screwing us up that we can't even get noticed. So, let me ask you this. How can we address this isolation and the hibernation of the individual artist? Why is it so important to be a part of these communities and to support one another? And what could our future look like once we reestablish thriving art communities? It's time to do something out of the ordinary. It's time to support the individual artists.
It takes organization. It takes dedication. It takes the willingness to stand by and do what has to be done when it has to be done.
I want you to think about how many art communities exist in your city. Go ahead and think. If you thought of some, please share them in the comments to help them gain some recognition. See, come here. The issue is this. The problem with art communities is that there simply aren't enough of them. They either lack the size and or visibility needed to thrive. In many cases, you have to know someone within these communities or do some research to even become aware of them. Throughout history, art collectives have shown their ability to positively impact communities. From local activism and representation to organizing fundraisers and supporting local artists. These groups play an essential role in creativity and connections. Communities such as Birdcliff Colony in Woodstock, the American Art Colonies, Bergen in the Netherlands, and Skagen in Denmark. These are all art communities that promoted local works by a wide range of artists seeking a voice or platform within the community. A great example of the impact of communities that support artists is the Harlem Renaissance. This cultural revolution centered in the Harlem neighborhood of New York City during the 20th century established the area as a vibrant hub of Black creativity and expression, celebrated as the golden age of African American culture. It was marked by groundbreaking achievements in literature, music, theater, and the visual arts. The Harlem Renaissance shows us the importance of art communities as safe spaces where artists can collaborate, share ideas, and inspire one another. This hub of creativity led to the development of innovative art forms and cultural movements. This wasn't any place to show art. It created a sense of belonging and reduced isolation and supported mental well-being. They got so big that it provided marginalized groups to have a platform to express their identities. These communities not only nurtured artistic talent, but also served as catalysts for activism and social reform. ACT UP is a perfect example of artistic activism. The AIDS Coalition to Unleash Power, ACT UP, is a diverse, nonpartisan group of individuals united in anger and committed to direct actions to end the AIDS crisis. They have effectively used art to raise awareness and gather support for their cause, as well as offering free PDF downloads of posters for anyone to use, and you should most definitely check them out and support them if you can. Now, you may think ACT UP was the only one that showcased art as activisms, but you can look at this through the Guerrilla Girls. They are an anonymous art activist group who uses disruptive headlines, striking visuals, and impactful statistics to expose gender and ethical bias, as well as corruption in film, politics, and pop culture. They might not be a traditional community, but they highlight the importance of pushing for art communities, particularly in addressing the lack of funding and representation in the larger art world. The banana. A delicious fruit you can buy for $1. Well, guess what? It just sold for $6 million. Now, this might suggest that the art world is flush with funding and representation. However, you could not have been more wrong. In recent years, particularly in the US, the arts have faced significant challenges, including declining funding for school programs. Many schools have reduced or entirely cut their arts program due to budget constraints. The lack of funding in the arts goes beyond schools. It affects individual artists as well. Without proper financial support, artists from underrepresented groups face difficulties, resulting in inequality and limited representation within the larger art world. If art isn't equal or well represented, it can lead to 3 outcomes: market competition, resource allocation, cultural homogenization, none of which are good. Let's start with market competition. This leads to the rise of mega galleries in the art market by a small number of major players, which creates significant challenges for smaller galleries and independent artists like you. They often struggle to gain visibility in a market dominated by corporations. 2. Resource allocation. Large companies have the means to invest heavily in marketing, exhibitions, and artist representation, attracting the majority of collectors and buyers. This limits opportunities for individual artists to connect with potential patrons. Lastly is 3. Cultural homogenization. The focus of high-value marketable art by large corporations often leads to the homogenization of artistic expression. This marginalizes diverse or experimental works, which are typically produced by individual artists. I think it's important to note that the richest living painters are all men with little to no representation of women. As I said before, the Guerrilla Girls, they're awesome. Please check them out and consider donating to their cause. They do exceptional work. These 3 factors that influence funding and representation in the art world are important to consider, as they hurt you from making it as an artist. Now, this isn't issue just in the painting world. It applies to all forms of art, from movies and TV shows to basically anything else. We need to start to redirect funding back to the individual artists. And this is where the community, you, play a vital role. When the community, again, you, support local individual artists, it sparks a kind of awareness that might not otherwise emerge. This heightened awareness encourages people to become more engaged with their communities and help drive the force of activism.
An artist's duty, as far as I'm concerned, is to reflect the times. But I choose to reflect the times and the situations in which I find myself. That, to me, is my duty. And at this crucial time in our lives, when everything is so desperate, when every day is a matter of survival, I don't think you can help but be involved. Young people, black and white, know this. That's why they're so involved in politics. We will shape and mold this country, or it will not be molded and shaped at all anymore.
Capitalism. You know it, I know it, we all experience it every day, and guess what? It is capitalism that undermines support for the individual artist. Money is the driving force behind all corporations, and the primary goal of a company is what? Generate profits. Now, you may be asking yourself, how does this affect the arts? Well, it's because the arts are inherently challenging to commercialize. People have diverse opinions on what is good or bad art. This leads to big corporations to cut certain art programs due to the lack of profits that individual artists can generate, which is why there has been a rise in remakes and spin-offs of video games, movies, books, and other forms of media, as well as increased exclusivity among certain artists. Meanwhile, there's been a noticeable decrease in the production of new original works. I mean, did you know that companies favor projects with a high reward to risk ratio, choosing options they know will sell and yield significant profits? And do you know what this does in return? It restricts the individual artist, making it much harder for artists to pursue their passion, which then restricts your freedom of expression by raising the cost of supplies and support. Now, in this next part, I wanted to share what you can do, whether you're an artist or simply someone who loves the arts, to help the individual artist thrive in a capitalist society. Now, capitalism isn't disappearing anytime soon, which raises the question, what can you do to survive or even push back against the system as an individual artist? The first and most crucial answer is community. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Many people underestimate just how important it is to be a part of a community, whether you're an artist or not. We live in an age of isolation where social media and societal pressures have driven us further apart. That's just the unfortunate truth. It's why we see so many loneliness epidemics, which is a byproduct of capitalism. Capitalism inherently promotes individualism. It's focusing on personal achievements and productivity. This leads to a sense of isolation as people's worth becomes tied to what they produce. It's no wonder so many feel so disconnected. And guess what the cure to this is? Community. There's a reason concerts feel so incredible. There are communal experiences where people bond over a shared passion. However, building community doesn't require a large crowd. It starts small with your neighbors and friends. Individual artists cannot thrive in isolation. They need support, awareness, and connection to support themselves and their work. It's time to create communal gatherings among your friends and neighbors. However, we have to take baby steps to build these connections, and the best way to start is by simply talking with your neighbors. Capitalism has conditioned us to be highly independent, often to the point of isolation. This may not apply to everyone, but it is a common mindset. For individual artists to survive within capitalism, they need community. Building an audience is essential. While it might seem easiest to put all your work on social media, this can be very limiting. Here's the reason why. Instead of you, the artist, deciding where and how your work is showcased, it becomes subject to the whims of the algorithm. Don't confine yourself to that funnel. You're better than that. Social media has also messed with our perception of success. For example, 74 likes on social media might feel underwhelming, but imagine if 74 people showed up to your gallery or premiere or event, you would probably be ecstatic. We need to rethink what success and connection looks like in the digital age. We need to start small by creating communal efforts with our friends and neighbors, engaging in activities that bring people together. Simple acts like hosting a neighborhood gathering, organizing a creative workshop, or even just sharing meals can lay a foundation for stronger connections. Let's also remember you have to be open to welcoming new people into your circle. Community thrives on inexclusivity and mutual support. This isn't just about socializing, it's about creating a support system for the arts. And this is especially true in the context of capitalism. By attending these small localized connections, we build the foundation for a strong ecosystem where artists can thrive. This is the first crucial step for individual artists to succeed in a system that often prioritizes profits over expression. A strong community provides not just emotional support, but also resources and an audience, which artists need to sustain their work. That was step one. The next step is pretty straightforward, and that is you must actively purchase, promote the artists and their work. This is honestly the simplest and most effective way for artists to thrive. Support their work. Even if it isn't to your taste, by spreading the word about an artist, you contribute to their growth, boost their confidence, and potentially inspire other artists in the process. When you buy directly from artists, you are helping them succeed within the grips of capitalism. You allow them to create freely and authentically without the influences of corporations. This is important to remember because when art becomes overly commercialized, it leads to two things: propaganda and hollow creations that lack genuine reflection on society. It's crucial for people to fund and support artists in any way they can, whether it's through purchasing their work, attending their exhibitions, or simply sharing their names with others. These small actions grow an artistic community. This essentially benefits everyone. It enriches the cultural landscape, strengthens the communal bonds, and opens opportunities for other artists, including yourself. When we support individual artists, we create a ripple effect that allows art to flourish and remain true. It's a powerful step towards building a community where creativity thrives away from the grasp of corporate interests. This leads me to my final step, and that is joining public art and open source initiatives. For local artists, it's essentially to start by cultivating relationships within your community before moving to social media. Now, this honestly doesn't mean avoiding the internet entirely. It just means balancing both. While online community has its advantages, it can be very limiting to creating deep connections with people. Displaying your art is important for individual artists. It breaks down traditional barriers of access, bringing creativity directly to the people and changing the idea that art's value is tied solely to its commercial value. Example of this include like street murals, pop-up exhibitions in public spaces, and open source projects, which allow artists to share their work freely while retaining credit. By participating in these events, artists not only gain visibility, but also contribute to reshaping how art is valued and appreciated, focusing on connection and impact rather than monetary worth. You want to change the future because right now the future looks very grim with the transition of powers, our oligarchs, and the ongoing privatization of nearly everything around us. There is still a chance for meaningful change and progress, especially for us as individual artists. As mentioned before, art seems to be in a state of hibernation among the masses, making it important for us to come together and support one another. If everyone participates and works together to promote and uplift individual artists, many things can happen. The most important result is the amplification of marginalized voices. Underrepresented communities could gain larger platforms to share their stories, creating empathy and understanding on a global scale. Artists have the potential to use their work to highlight and support movements addressing inequality, systemic racism, and LGBTQ+ rights and indigenous rights, creating a more inclusive society. By supporting individual artists, we can assure that marginalized groups are heard and that the issues they face are not overlooked. If we choose to support the individual artists, this will lead to the change in what we view as success. It will encourage individuals to become more expressive and create fulfilling work. Moreover, it could lead to increased support from governments, nonprofits, and communities, including more grants, residencies, and public funding dedicated to projects that merge art with activism. My final point is highly important, and it's creating thriving communities and promoting collaborations. This is honestly one of the main reasons I want Livewire to succeed. Beyond simply promoting the platform, we need more art submissions to showcase. Please contribute your work. We want to build a strong community and create a safe space and create a place of collaboration. This isn't just to create a sense of belonging, but also to expand our reach and impact. Supporting individual artists can reduce isolation, providing a space where people can freely express themselves in any form. When artists are supported, we can see new communities rise, creating stronger connections and creating platform for voices to be heard. These connections can create collaborative projects among artists, activists, educators, and scientists addressing critical issues like climate change, social justice, and mental health. If artists can collaborate, it has an effort to create a potential powerful effect of change benefiting everyone. By supporting individual artists, we can create a bright future rooted in empathy, creativity, and collective ideology. One where art drives social and cultural transformations.
Fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, nigga, fuck Donald Trump. I don't like your ass. Yeah, fuck Donald Trump.
First things first, I want to say thank you to the 32 subscribers that have subscribed to the channel. We are one step closer in supporting the individual artists. Second, I want to thank Palm Tree Corpse for the book recommendations. I have gotten them and I have not read them yet, so please hold me accountable. And lastly, I want to thank Shinova for sending in their music. You were the first and only artist to send in their music, so I just want to thank you for sending it in. And if you haven't listened to Shinova, please do. Their music is great. And please join a community. You'd find it's not only super rewarding, but also a lot of fun. If you don't have one, don't be afraid to create one. And if you haven't joined Livewire yet, please subscribe. If this is your first time seeing me, hello, this is Livewire, and my name is Amon. We're all about supporting individual artists of all kinds. Feel free to send in your work to this email, and once I gather enough submissions, I'll display them on Twitch for everyone to enjoy. And my hope is to make this a reoccurring event and not just a one-time thing. Also, one quick update. I mentioned before that we would judge the artworks, but I've decided against that. It's not my place really to like decide what is good or bad art. All works are welcome as long as, you know, of course, they're appropriate. Once I have enough artworks for a full live stream, I'll go ahead and make an announcement here. And I just want to say thank you for listening. And remember, please support your local artists.